She earned nothing. She knows how to do nothing, and she stands for nothing other than one thing.
Have been speculating on that Meghan Markle has lied about her age. Is she actually older?
And the problem is when you have an actual job as opposed to a stupid lifestyle website that
They called Diana the Princess of Hearts, right? But now, people are starting to whisper a very different title for Meghan Markle. They're calling her the Duchess of Deception. And honestly, when your past doesn't quite add up, when even your birth certificate looks like it's been tampered with, people stop treating you like a victim. They start seeing you as a master manipulator, someone who plays the game a little too well.
Think about it. After everything, she had a website called The Tig, which was like a lifestyle thing. Then she gets a job on Suits. She becomes an actress. She gets noticed by Prince Harry.
Let's be real for a second. Hollywood is full of stars who shave a few years off their age. Botox, fillers, filters, Photoshop. This is standard stuff. But this isn't just about another actress trying to pass for younger. This is Meghan Markle, the Duchess who built her entire brand on being real. She sold herself as the truth teller, the woman brave enough to stand against palace lies. And that's why Megyn Kelly's little jab cut so deep. It wasn't just petty gossip. It was a direct attack on Meghan's foundation. If she's not authentic, if she's not honest, then what is she?
It's been out there for a while. It's been floating around. Royal fans are convinced Meghan Markle is lying about her age. In fact, they think she's older. And not a surprise here because, yeah, she lies a lot about her stuff.
For years, Meghan has sold one thing above all else: authenticity. That was her weapon, her pitch, her calling card. Whether she was sobbing on Oprah's couch, posing in glossy magazine spreads, or starring in Netflix's carefully staged documentaries, Meghan positioned herself as the real Duchess, the one brave enough to tell the truth while the palace supposedly silenced her. Think back to those interviews, the soft lighting, the dramatic pauses, the carefully chosen sound bites. Every frame was designed to show Meghan as vulnerable, raw, and above all, honest. And it worked. Millions of people rallied around her. They believed she was finally breaking royal silence to share her truth. Meghan wasn't just telling stories, she was selling trust.
She marries him. She wrests him away from his family. Megxit is a success, at least as far as they're concerned. She gets $100 million from Netflix. She gets $50 million from Spotify.
But here's the danger. When your entire brand is built on truth, even the smallest crack is fatal. And that's exactly what Megyn Kelly exposed. Because if Meghan's age isn't what she claims, if records have been altered, then the whole house of cards comes tumbling down. Suddenly, that authenticity starts to look less like honesty and more like a performance. Perception is everything. In Hollywood, shaving a few years can land you the younger sister role instead of the mother. It's a game actors play all the time. But in royalty, it's a whole different ballgame. Birth records aren't just trivia, they're history. They're part of the crown's legacy. If those numbers don't add up, you're not just fibbing to a casting agent. You're lying to the monarchy, to the people, and to history itself.
Spotify, she's on the cover of magazines. It's great, fine, they took some bad publicity, but she's still a star and she's much better off.
And that's what makes Kelly's jab sting so badly. This isn't about whether Meghan is 42, 44, or 46. It's about the hypocrisy. The woman who demanded transparency, who accused the palace of hiding truths, might have been hiding some of her own. And in the court of public opinion, that irony is brutal.
Age currently says August 4th, 1981, that she is 41. Well, she would be 42 today. But is this true? There is a rumor she's actually older.
Fans who once worshipped Meghan now feel tricked. These were people who defended her endlessly, who applauded her for being the real one. Now they're left asking, was it all a script? If Meghan's brand is nothing more than another Hollywood performance, then what's left? And here's why this blew up. Megyn Kelly's remark didn't come as a screaming tabloid headline. It came as a casual, polite little birthday wish. Hope it's the best birthday you've ever had. But hidden in that sweet line was a dagger. Was Megyn really turning 44? Or had she blown past that number years ago?
What's out there? This is a copy of 17 magazine, and it was published in March of 1997.
The cruelty was in the delivery. Kelly knew exactly what she was doing. It wasn't just a dig, it was a public challenge. The kind that makes everyone watching raise an eyebrow and whisper, "Wait a minute." Suddenly, Meghan's birthday wasn't about cake and balloons, it was about numbers, receipts, and math that didn't add up.
I'm amazing and you're not, Montecito. And it shows her baking. She's baking. Okay. Then she's in a ball gown. And again, I look at her and I ask myself, okay, I'm totally open-minded to why I should admire you. You lay it on.
Imagine being Meghan in that moment. Every birthday post, every photo becomes evidence in a trial she never agreed to. Instead of heart emojis, her comments fill with side-by-side comparisons. Yearbook photos versus royal biographies, alumni chatter versus official timelines. Fans don't see cake anymore. They see contradictions. And here's the brutal twist. Meghan can't escape it. Birthdays don't stop. They come every year, like clockwork, which means every August 4th, she's forced to relive the same rumor cycle. Post too much and she looks desperate. Post nothing and it looks suspicious. She's trapped by her own calendar. And if the birthday drama was the spark, then the salsa club photo was the wildfire. One single picture, grainy, overexposed, the kind of shot you'd expect to be forgotten in some old photo album, resurfaced. And according to critics, it wasn't just a random snapshot, it was a receipt, exactly the kind Megyn Kelly dared people to dig up. Here's the scene. Years before Meghan became a Duchess, she's caught on camera in a salsa club. Radiant, laughing, mid-dance with friends. Totally normal, right? Wrong. Because the date attached to that photo didn't match the official story of where Meghan was supposed to be, or more controversially, how old she was meant to be at the time. And just like that, the internet pounced. Was Meghan really the age she claimed in that photo? Or did that timestamp push her into a timeline that didn't match the fairy tale she'd sold? And this is where it escalated. Meghan's critics didn't treat the salsa picture as just a blurry memory. They treated it like the Rosetta Stone of her life story. Suddenly, blogs were analyzing hairstyles, outfits, even the club's decor, cross-referencing Yelp reviews and event flyers to pin down the exact year. What should have been a fun night out was now forensic evidence. For Meghan, this was a nightmare she couldn't Photoshop away. A rumor you can deny, a birthday number you can brush off. But a photograph, that's proof. Or at least it looks like proof. And in the internet's court, looking like proof is as good as being guilty. The cruel irony is that the photo wasn't even scandalous when it was taken. It was just a young woman dancing, smiling, enjoying herself. But years later, it's been weaponized as the missing puzzle piece that suggests her age story might be fabricated. The salsa club picture didn't just resurface, it rewrote the narrative. Because one photo you can excuse, a clerical error, a forgotten detail, a coincidence. But Meghan Markle's story? Critics say it's not about one stray salsa photo. It's about a pattern, a breadcrumb trail of inconsistencies so glaring they start to look less like accidents and more like edits. So, let's walk through it. Meghan's official timeline paints a neat, clean story. High school in LA, then Northwestern University, then her big Hollywood break. Simple, right? Except, when you talk to classmates, the timeline wobbles. People remember her being in certain classes or certain years that don't match her official birth date. It's like there are two Meghans, the Meghan in the records and the Meghan her peers actually remember. And then come the documents, alumni lists, yearbooks, school records, things that are supposed to be rock solid. But with Meghan, they seem to shift like sand. In one version, she appears in one class year. In another, she's bumped forward or backward. It's like musical chairs with her age, and no one really knows which version is true. Critics point to even stranger whispers, birth certificates with amendments, records that suddenly sprout corrections, forms that don't match originals. These aren't the kinds of changes you expect in a real person's life. They sound more like edits in a Hollywood script. Once the internet smelled blood, it didn't stop. Old clips, photos, documents, everything became ammunition. Her Netflix series, fans chopped it up into edits with captions screaming, "Do the math, Meg!" Online, perception is reality. Once hashtags trend, they stick. And Meghan, she's trapped. If she claps back, she looks guilty. If she stays silent, it looks worse. Either way, social media has her cornered, turning her into a spectacle she can't control. Then came the real bombshell, the birth certificate saga. May 2019. Archie is born. The world waits for the traditional ceremonial birth certificate. At first, everything looks normal. Rachel Meghan Markle printed right there. But weeks later, eagle-eyed fans notice something shocking. Her name is erased. The certificate now lists her only as Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex. No Rachel, no Meghan, just the title. Who edits a baby's birth record weeks after the fact? The palace scrambled to explain it as a protocol adjustment, but critics didn't buy it. Why did this so-called tradition not apply to Diana or Kate? Why only Meghan? Some insisted Meghan herself wanted to elevate her image, erase her Hollywood past, and stamp herself purely as royalty. Others claimed the palace forced it on her, stripping away her individuality. Either way, the scandal became less about names and more about trust. Because once one official record is altered, people start wondering how many others might have been changed too. And that tied directly back to the age controversy. If Archie's birth certificate could be modified, what's stopping people from believing Meghan's own might have been tinkered with? By this point, Meghan's timeline was a maze. And the biggest shock? reports that her name has appeared under 3 different birth years. Not 1, not 2, 3. The official narrative, 1981. That's the year stamped on royal biographies and magazine profiles. But then journalists dug up older casting bios listing 1979, 2 years older than the story she tells. And in some databases, she allegedly shows up under 1975. That's a 6-year gap. Defenders say clerical errors happen, but normal people don't have 3 different birthdays floating around. When the same discrepancy pops up across decades and sources, it stops looking like coincidence. Critics argue Megyn shaved years off for Hollywood, like so many actresses trying to land younger roles. Others claim she wanted to appear closer in age to Harry, and the most extreme voices whisper something darker, that her entire biography was scrubbed and rewritten to fit a carefully constructed narrative. For Megyn, this is catastrophic, because once people doubt the basics, your birth year, your age, everything else collapses. Every speech, every Netflix special, every carefully staged photo op starts to feel tainted. Megyn Kelly didn't invent these suspicions, but her jab cracked the dam. Now the flood is unstoppable. And then came Samantha Markle again, this time in court. Megyn's sister didn't just throw shade in interviews. She brought her claims into sworn legal documents. Suddenly, alumni records, yearbooks, and birth dates were dragged into the courtroom. The gossip Megyn's team worked so hard to bury was now public record. Even if Samantha never wins a dime, she's already delivered a devastating blow. She gave gossip bloggers their strongest ammunition. She forced Megyn into the one role she hates, reacting instead of controlling the narrative. And here's the nightmare scenario, the one that makes Buckingham Palace nervous. What if Megyn didn't just shave a couple of years for Hollywood roles? What if she actually fooled the monarchy itself? Because in Hollywood, fudging your age is harmless. In royalty, it's not. The monarchy is obsessed with records, heritage, bloodlines, legitimacy. These aren't just dates, they're part of national history. If Megyn slipped through with a fudged biography, it wouldn't just stain her, it would humiliate the crown. Insiders whisper that palace staff noticed the inconsistencies early, but instead of confronting them, they smoothed it over. Why? Because exposing it would have been catastrophic. Imagine the headline, "Royal Family Duped by Duchess of Deception." So, they chose silence. But the internet doesn't stay silent. It digs, it questions, it memes. And now, those cracks are impossible to plaster over. Trust, that was Megyn's brand. Trust in her story, her authenticity, her truth. But now that trust has collapsed. When Megyn Kelly dropped that little birthday bomb, it was more than a dig. It was a crack in the foundation. Because if Megyn blurred the truth about something as basic as her birth year, what else has she polished, exaggerated, or hidden? The monarchy thrives on trust. Without it, everything crumbles. And Megyn's carefully built brand, the authentic Duchess who spoke truth to power, doesn't survive if people believe she's been playing dress-up with her own biography. And now, the question hangs in the air like smoke after an explosion. Who is Meghan Markle, really? Because the headlines aren't calling her the trailblazing Duchess anymore. They're calling her something far darker, the Duchess of Deception.